No, you make a valid point, and my whole point is let President Obama make that case. Let him say we don't want to see more foreign workers come in because they're taking jobs away from Americans. Let him say that, because once he says that, Latinos are going to turn away from him. He's just silent on this issue. But again, employers are hiring workers not only because they're cheap labor. That's a misperception. In most cases, they're hiring them because they can't find American workers. You take agriculture, for example. Agriculture in this country could not be sustained without foreign workers. Over 80% of workers in the fields are undocumented immigrants. And what's happening, because we haven't fixed our system, farms in California are now shutting down operations in California, and they're going to Mexico. So I think we want to preserve those farms and maintain those farms in the United States. Let's fix the system. Let's allow for employers to get those foreign workers. But again, they're not cheating the system. I think like the majority of undocumented immigrants, the majority of employers and businesses in the U.S. are hardworking and honest, and they just want to grow the economy. But we cannot grow the economy if we don't have the workforce to grow it.
Rich in Centerville, Virginia, Republican caller. Good morning.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Just three quick points. The first one is, I read an article in the Washington Post, I don't know, about a month ago about there's a Chinese service that brings the Chinese folks here and allows their child to be born here and become an American citizen, and then they take them back home. And I think I even heard one of the senators say something about that the other day on C-SPAN. I mean, that's a perfect example of how broken things are. When you come from another country, you come here, you go shopping, you set up an opportunity to have a child in a hospital here. That child is an American citizen because it was born here, with no intention of ever being here. And God knows down the line what the logical reason of that is. The other thing is, I own a business in Northern Virginia, and for this gentleman to say that the illegals that are here, and I'm in the construction business, for him to say that the illegals are here are the only ones, they're only doing that work because nobody else wants to do it, that's not true. It's simply not true. That may have been the lobbyist or talking point for the last 5 or 10 years. But I'm telling you, there's kids with college educations right now that would be glad to have a roofer's job, or would be glad to have a landscaper's job, because the jobs just aren't out there. So this whole idea that, the folks that are here illegally, and it's just not the Latinos. I mean, we have illegal Indians, Pakistanis, Asians. We've got all kinds of folks here that are here under the auspices of doing work under a work permit and then never go home.
Let's get a response from Mr. Aguilar.
Well, one of the reasons they don't go home is because they're undocumented in the country. So if they were to go back home, they would have to re-enter illegally, and they don't want to do that. I think that something that we have to embrace is the concept of circular migration. Allow those foreign workers to come in with a biometric card. That's the only way they will be able to find employment, and that would allow them, once they're done with their work, to go back to their home country and then come back here when they're needed. Many don't want to remain in the United States. That's a misperception, that they want to come here to stay. I would say that that's what we want, a market-based system that can adjust to the needs of the economy. We're currently we're supposedly recovering from a recession, but unemployment is still very high, almost 10%. Obviously, the demand for work is going to go down. And we've seen, actually, the level of illegal migration go down during this period. And it's certainly one of the reasons is that there's less demand. But when things get back to normal and you see a growing economy, you're going to need those workers. So, part of hiring a foreign worker is actually going out there and as regulations and laws are established, and actually advertising vacancies with American workers. And time after time, many employers cannot find the American workforce. I think we have to be honest about this, and frankly, these are not talking points. This is hard research on American labor market, not only research based in Washington, but research based in all over the country. Without immigrants, our economy would collapse. That's just a fact.
Let's get one last caller in from West Palm Beach, Florida. Democrats line. Hi, Haywood.
Hi.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, like he said that they can't find workers to do the work that the immigrants do. That's not true, because I'm doing land. I do landscaping, and when they start bringing all the Mexicans and all the immigrants in this country, then they fired me. I lost my job, but the whole company is nothing but Mexicans now, and that's with all the landscaping down here in Florida.
Well, that's again a very good, valid point, but that's one additional reason for creating a mechanism, a guest worker program that allows people to come in legally, so they can be hired at appropriate prevailing wages, so they can compete fairly against Americans. That's not an argument against hiring foreign workers, but against actually hiring them in fair and equal conditions. There are plans out there, and there's the Kriebel Foundation based in Colorado came out with what they call the Red Card solution, which is a market-based, privately run, market-based temporary work visa that I think it's a great plan to bring the workers that we need. But I would agree with you. We want to see fair competition. But because they're undocumented, they cannot, some employers can take advantage of them. I'm not saying that there's an abuse of the system. There is. But I don't think it's really rampant. I think in most industries, they're hired because they can't find American workers.
Alfonso Aguilar, the Executive Director of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles. That website is latino-partnership.org. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.